Israel is one of the happiest countries in the world, at least according to the United Nations World Happiness Index. Year in and year out, the United Nations, along with Columbia University, assess the happiness of different societies based on certain critical success factors, such as healthy life expectancy, GDP, standard of living, social support, a sense of freedom and dignity. And Israel ranks amongst the top, in the top 10 or 15 every single year. But incredibly, when I looked at it this year, all the countries that rank above Israel, Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, etc., have a very big difference between them and Israel. None of them face the following three factors that Israel does. They don't face the terror threats that Israel faces on an ongoing basis. There's no Hezbollah or Hamas on their doorstep. There's no Syria falling apart with ISIS on their doorstep. And there's no country in close vicinity dedicated explicitly to their destruction. Secondly, Israel has a mandatory draft. Men and women from across the country have to go to the army. It's a civilian army where everybody has to do what it takes to defend themselves. And finally, and very importantly, they are not facing ongoing delegitimization programs against their disputed territories, their political issues, causing a lot of angst within Israel and the international community. Somehow, Israel faces all of these three, and yet, year in and year out, ranks amongst the happiest countries in the world. What is the X factor? What is the secret of the success of the feeling of fulfillment and happiness amongst Jews and amongst Israelis in the state of Israel? I believe it is a sense of destiny, a sense of purpose. The X factor is something metaphysical, it's something spiritual. It's a sense of meaning, purpose and destiny. Somehow being in Israel gives the people who live here a sense of living out history, fulfilling a destiny, a metaphysical meaning that can only be fulfilled for Jews in the land of Israel. Every day that I drive to work up in the hills of Yerushalayim, I think of Psalms Kuf Kafeh 125, Yerushalayim Harim Savivla, Jerusalem, surrounded by mountains as I go up and down the hills. When I pass those armored track cars on the side, remembering the wars of independence 70 years ago, I also remember the many battles between David and Saul and the Philistines taking place in this area. Literally, every rock, every hill is imbued with thousands of years of history. It's in essence a sense of destiny. Somehow being here is fulfilling biblical and prophetic dreams, being the place ultimately Hashem wished for the Jewish people to be, fulfilling so many of the most profound prophecies, and somehow connecting with our mission, our sense of purpose and destiny. You know, in conclusion, I want to say that is exactly what Sukkot is all about. We find the word simcha, happiness, by Sukkot more than any other festival. We must take the Arba Minim and rejoice before Hashem with the four species. Sukkot is the happiness festival. But what are we celebrating? Indeed, more than any other festival, we leave so much of our material, realistic lives behind. We exit our homes and we leave it behind. We come before Hashem and we hold the Arba Minim, the one profound halakha regarding the four species, that they have to be severed from the ground. All four of them have to be able to wilt, to be vulnerable, that in a few days, in the terms of the Arava, a few weeks and months, indeed they will shrivel up and there will be nothing left materially of them. We come leaving our material possessions and our material lives behind, and we enter into the Sukkah, in the words of the Zohar, the Tzila de Memnuta. We enter into this shadow of faith, the X factor, where we come together with our values, our sense of mission and purpose, our belief in Hashem, fulfillment of Torah and mitzvot, a sense of fulfilling our mission and purpose. And if we have that, even if we have nothing else, that indeed is the spiritual, metaphysical factor which brings about true fulfillment and true happiness. May we all, Bezrat Hashem, be able to sense this happiness and fulfillment and celebrate together with our families and indeed all of Klal Yisrael. Chag Sameach.